this amazing teacher in grade 8 in Montreal High School, Mr. Mitchell. He was a Scotty. He taught Latin, right? And his thing was, when in doubt, cross it out, you know? Or he'd catch somebody like cheating with a book and he'd say, or someone looking out the window vacantly, you know, at the wall. He said, what are you looking at out there? The guy would say, the wall, sir. He'd say, well, you know, write me an essay about that, Bernard, you know, for Monday. 1,000 words on walls, and like an essay, like you know, like somebody might have written in the English tradition, you know, on walls, you know, Charles Lamb or something. I remembered it. Okay. So look, oh yeah. So the thing was, we're talking about Richard Sommer, right, and how, you know, he's died recently and left behind that beautiful postscript, right, and how Buddhist and peaceful it is and gentle, right, and this poem here has sort of some of those elements in it. It's adapted from an Italian poet called Giusti. It's Mountain Snail. Backpacking ace, who'd guess the grace you bow to with oozing slow pace? Who tried to trace spire, hoist, lens, salve, or trumpets in dew to a valve? Long life to you in your showcase. Why catch a cold or risk a sneeze, putting a foot out in the breeze when you can roll up in a dome? Hey, Diogenes, you at home? Long life to you, stoic and tease. A small place, cave's no place to get sick on fancy dishes, so you stick to the plain but fresh, spicy stuff, tickling your stomach in the rough. Long life to you, frugal rustic. We fight, act tough, but crave kindness. We're brave till there's a bloody mess. Spluttering, shrinking back in time, you seal your lips with dainty slime. Long life to you, Tower of Peace. Like Tibetans with their prayer wheel, or potters with theirs, meal by meal you spin your shell's spiral staircase, all whirls and whirls out of chaos. Long life to your cosmic ideal. Music's clef and yin-yang's measure, tour a lotus to the azure. Why hide your head in a helmet? Ah, too cold or dry out. You bet. Long life to you, hermit's treasure. I'll miss you against my tummy. Why didn't you tell me, you dummy? Ocean whispers is all I'd hear if your carved couch met my starved ear. Long life to you, yogi's yummy. But again, it's from the same context, right? Animals, like mountain steppers. They're shy, a look, a bit of light, and they run and hide. Maybe it's the feelers on their heads can weigh in waves what you're thinking from far away. All they want is a lick of water, a dot of egg, or a nap on the crumbs under the toaster. They have shiny black eyes, small as pencil points, and wings on their backs they never use, fine as peanut skin. They look like they're driving when they run. They go so smoothly. And they can walk over the sharpest knives without hurting their feet, or sit upside down under the neck of a spoon without falling off. Stop fast, too. And they talk with their arms and legs like dancers. Real steppers. You know what that's about, right?
Cockroaches.
Yeah. As one lady once said, Luana Parker, she said, you know, Peter, that's not the usual or the conventional, you know, traditional kind of like approach to cockroaches, right? You know, it's a little bit more of a scientific view, you know. I mean, a poet partly has to be like a scientist. As Wordsworth said, like, we murder to dissect. In other words, in order to understand nature, let's say you want to understand whether a butterfly wear boots, right? Or how the dust gets on their wings, or what kind of hinges they got that allows them to flop around like butter but fly nicely. So as scientists, technicians, nature You want to pry that apart to look at it in detail under a microscope in order to steal a secret that you can use then to make Volkswagen go more smoothly, you know what I mean? So the thing is, if you want to look at it without ever losing a sense of like integrity, how beautiful it is, you can't really afford that life for the sake of progress or technology or whatever, you know what I mean? And anyhow, I don't know where I'm going with this. All I know is that Basho had it down pretty good, because he says in a small poem called Mountain Surprise, he says it right on, humanity's basic thing is between contrasts. He says, you get the fire going, and I'll show you something new, a fresh ball of snow. Like the contrast between, humanity goes from the snow to the fire, it needs both. It's like a pulse, like the heart. In the sharp light hooves of the leaves, in the feathers on the shoulders, in the cool small of the back, in the bulrushes stalling in ditches, in the downy nap and the deep shag, in the cups of clattering mud, in the lift and bob of the pommel, in the rhomboid of the knees, in the leather flapping of the skirts, in the air, fresh as crushed thunder, in the toes all apart on the jumps, in the spurs of roses on all sides, in the reins light as a thread in a swallow's beak, in the teeth of the stars, in the belly brushed by fog tongue, in the fish of the eyes, in the breathing of a horse out of mountain grass, in the belt opening like the lips, in the saddle that flies away. We went to Ottawa that time you drove me for that poetry thing up at the Oak Inn, the Royal Oak or something like that.
There's a pub, yeah.
Yeah, and on the way there, it really started to rain and thunder hard like hell. Remember it was lightning? We had to stop under an overpass or a bridge for a while because it was raining so hard.
I was terrified.
Yeah, and again, a typical example of things that I sometimes like. I should have, when I got there and started to read, I should have read this poem, Mountain Rain, right? Obvious. It's rainstorm out there, everybody's experienced it. It would have been so natural, right? But I completely forgot about it. In any case, I like rain. I mean, I grew up with rain. My mother would say, like, look, the rain will go, here, put on your this and that. Dutch, rain, right? You get inside, we'll have a nice warm cup of tea, and you'll look nice from indoors with the fire on. You know what I mean? Anyhow, I have a little quote at the beginning of the poem, a little superscription or an epigraph, I think. It's from Keats. If a sparrow comes before my window, I pick him up the gravel. Rain, rain, with your famous face, walking down the back lane and looking over the roofs again. Rain, rain, coming down walls in big wet balls, washing cracks in worms' backs and squabbling with mud in the drain. Sweet, warm, bird feather ruffling rain, gluing lovers to the ground, throwing rain darts into their hearts, and walking into telephone booths and dialing for more rain. Vrish, preen, rupa, letting all the sound out of tires, tree and cloud, emptying a bladder in the hall, closing the red fists of roses, drying a storm on the dome of a thorn, and thunder biking down again. Rain, 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 landing on cat's paws, skipping around, walking in tall slanted boots over boulevards and routes, and clapping to make earth a mother again. Bit of ear snack there, like the rain, you know what I'm saying? Yes, the rain is a kind of ear snack. You know what I mean? Ear candy or whatever they call it, you know what I mean? Well, here's a poem that whenever I've read it, when I read this at Amnesty International years ago downtown, right? Big audience, part of it, I was just one poet. There were other people, speakers and stuff, right? And it was a day, it was interesting for me, because I had just gotten, for the first and only time in my life, a pair of Porsche sunglasses. Can you dig it? I mean, really nice glasses. I mean, good for the eyes, nice, beautiful. And someone swiped them. I thought, Amnesty International. Someone had to swipe my glasses, the poet's glasses, while he went to the stage to read the poem, right? What can I do, Well, I'll tell you what I can do. I can read you a poem that reflects that feeling, perhaps, at a nicer level than if I were to just get angry. All right? Can you dig what it's going to be? Can you have any idea what it's going to be? No.
I'm racking my brain. I can't think.
Okay, well, it's okay. This is what it is. It's written by from Tibullus. Tibullus, Roman poet. Let's say before Christ. 2000 whatever BC, right? 500 BC. Let's say. It's called Elegy on War, Invention of the Sword. You're looking at a one-eyed guy, mind you, because I can only read with the one eye here. Okay? Hope you don't mind.
No problem.
Who was he? This first butcher and weapon maker who simplified dying and growing up for a boy. He must have been old and grisly, this first soldier, poured in the same mold as his pig iron sword, forgetting to patent the world's most patented toy. Old fool. Probably forged it for hacking up wood or butchering bears, and no one understood till there was a market for it. All the same, his arm-long blade was soon tooled into a cold-killing machine. I suppose brains are to blame, or this age of iron with its manic drive for gold. For long ago there were no wars, and no weapon makers. Our food was served up in beechwood bowls. Those days even a herdsman could safely bed down among his slug-colored flocks and claim a day's work without reporting to ramparts, forts, and foxholes. Imagine living then, even as herdsman, no hand in this racket of arms, bivouac, and command, and this insanity for years on end, stuck far from home, only one song in your head, your life made lousy by bum gear, piles, potluck, and the endless bungling of bureaucrats, the sweat pouring down at the sound of each bugle call. Like the one that's blasting us out for a roll call right now. Just think of it. Some energetic jerk on the other side's probably polishing blades, maybe just for the sake of doing some work. Chances are one of them is going to stay behind and rust away in my guts one of these days.
Nice.
Is that what you sort of wanted, or was that too long? Or?